Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So how do you know when it's the right time? How do you know when it's the time to make that decision, to take action, to begin? You know, there's this funny notion I wrestled for about 20 seconds with what to call this episode. And what I've actually noticed is that when I ask a question, when I have a question mark on episodes, you guys seem very interested in those. And so is timing everything? There tends to be this feeling that it's all about timing, right? Like if you line up things properly, if your ducks get in a row, if you, you have to wait for things to be the right time before you execute, before you take action, before you have the conversation, before you decide to have children, before you get married, before you go to school. Like somehow everything's going to be perfectly aligned. And I'll tell you something, sister, never in my life, maybe this is different for you, but I've experienced this with a lot of clients as well too. Never in my life have I experienced that things line up exactly as I wanted them to. Never. And if I waited for that, it simply never happens. So let me give you an example. When I decided I want to become a chiropractor, so I have since now retired, quote unquote, from practice, which means I'm still always a chiropractor in my heart. I'm just not practicing right now. But we were in practice for 14 years. But when I decided to become a chiropractor, so this would have been back, and I was working my brother's chiropractic office for a couple of years at that point. I had graduated in 92 with my first degree, which is an honors degree in psychology, a BA, honors BA in psychology with a minor in sociology. And I had a job in my profession. And I was working with adults in almost like a school-like setting. Some actually lived in an institution, some lived on their own. And so it was kind of really varied as to their different abilities, but they were either physically, mentally, challenged, disabled in some way. And it was very hard. I was frustrated in it because they were all on these crazy ass drugs, which made their emotions, their moods just wild. The people that I worked with hated what they did. They resented me coming in with a 4-year degree because most of them had a 2-year college degree to be able to do this job. I was almost a little bit, this sounds like really somehow narcissistic or something, but like I was a little bit overqualified for the position, but I was just happy to kind of get my foot in the door. And I wanted to help people, right? Was my thing. And so I was working that during the day. At night, I started working in my brother's chiropractic office, or whenever I finished at like 4 o'clock, 4:30. And so then I took a bus, and then worked at David's office for a couple hours, and his chiropractic office. And it's funny, because I grew up around chiropractors, had never been in a chiropractic care. I remember asking my mom that. I'm like, how come I never got adjusted? She's like, oh, I thought it was too rough. You were my little girl. And, she hadn't had the experience of chiropractors who are able to work with patients in a very gentle and honoring way, and not a lot of force, not a lot of aggression. That was just her style that she had only been introduced to, so she was afraid of it for me. Anyway, sidebar onto that. A couple of years into working in David's office, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I want to be a chiropractor. And I had like trained staff. I worked the front desk. I had done assisting stuff with David. Lots of promotion. I'd done basically all the different ads except for chiropractor. And I was like, this is what I want to do. So I decided to apply to, at the time, the only college in Canada, chiropractic college in Canada, called CMCC, Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College. It was in Toronto. I was living in Ottawa at the time, so it's about a 5-hour drive from there. In Ontario, Canada, and applied the first year, had 10 letters of recommendation from past, alumni that went along with the application. I got to the interview process, and then I got put on, let me think, what happened the first year? Yeah, I got put on a wait list. And, I was kind of devastated. I was like, how come I didn't get in? Where am I on the wait list? Well, we can't tell you. And I was like, okay. So at the time, my boyfriend, now husband, we then moved from Ottawa to Toronto. both gotten jobs, and I wouldn't know until, so the school year would have been starting in September. I wouldn't know until like late August or even a few days before. So it was like, well, let's get jobs. If I get into school, great. If not, we'll work, save a lot of money. I'll apply the following year. That's what ended up happening. I didn't get in. It's like, okay, well, we're here in Toronto. It's fine. We're working like crazy, literally working like 7 days a week, a couple different jobs each. And then the next year, because it was only on like each September that they were accepting students. So I apply again, I go the interview process, and this time I never even get on the wait list. And I'm like, this is not, I remember the first time that I didn't get in, I was like devastated. Because I'm like, wait a second, but I've been working in office, but I love chiropractic. But I completely understand what this is all about. I have this desire to help people. I've had experience working in office for 3 years. Like, my brother went there. There's friends that went there. Like, this is my life. What do you mean? No. I couldn't understand that. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just like work again. And then the next year it was like, well, this is a kick in the ass. I don't get on a wait list this year. So I'm like, okay, well, what are we going to do? What would be the coolest place for us to live? What would, and it's like at the time there was 4 different chiropractic colleges in California. We put up this map of California in our little teeny junior one bedroom apartment on Yonge Street in Toronto, Yonge Davisville, put that thing up and had that there. And I applied to all 4 and I got in all 4. And I ended up choosing Palmer West, which is in San Jose, and then kind of, off we went. And so it did not happen the way that I wanted it to. And at the time then, because then I had to, when we went down to California, I had about 6 months, I had to take some prerequisite courses because I didn't have like a pure science degree, right? Psychology degree. So I had to take some of the different things, anatomy and physiology, and I had chemistry and organic chemistry, and I had to do all those first. So it was a contingent application and started that January of 98. So at that point, I was 28 and a half starting school. Finished, graduated at 31. Most of the, my classmates were like 21, 22. Like nothing ever happened. And this is just one example, right? Nothing ever happened the way that I wanted it to, but it happened the way that it did. And there was no timing because even we said we're going to go down to California, we'd at that point paid down any debt that we had. Outside of, I think I had, all debt, no school debt even at that point. Accumulated tons once we went off to school, but we had none. But we literally had $1,500, I think, US. At the time, the dollar, which it is now, was shitty, like 70 cents on the dollar kind of thing, Canadian US dollar. I had a small student loan of maybe, how much was it? Maybe $8,000 a year Canadian, which would be about $5,500 US. My tuition alone was $4,000 a semester, a quarter. It was like, it made no sense. The timing, we didn't have the money in the bank and then went, or the funding. We literally figured it out as we went along. If we waited for that, I never would have become a chiropractor. Well, wait a second. I don't know that for certain. But I don't think I would have. Like, we had to take that jump. Timing is not everything. The timing did not line up. It didn't. At all. But yet, we made that decision and we took one step. And the next step revealed the next one that we needed to take. And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So I'm going to have you consider, if you're waiting for timing of things, you will be waiting the rest of your life. And if you're being really honest, the timing that you're saying that you think needs to happen is actually just a front for fear. That you are afraid. You think you need to know it all? No, you don't. It never works that way. Do we ever know everything of how to be a parent? Hell no. We got that baby's home, and then we're like, what do I do? We don't go, well, I got to figure out potty training and then the feeding stuff and then, trying to get sleep through the night and then the walking and then the toddler stuff and then the tantrums and then the school and then the teenage. We don't know all these stages. There's no perfect time to be a parent. It's the time that it happens, right? I mean, listen, parenting, I could give you a cajillion stories of this. Parenting is another piece of that. We'll tell that on a different episode. Timing is not everything. What is the right time? It's the time that you decide. It's now. It's now. There is no getting everything all perfectly done. It doesn't work that way, sister. And I think that you know that deep down inside. But you put on the smoke screen of, well, I got it. It's not the right time. Like, can I tell you how many of you with so much love and compassion tell me that, you know what, Karen, you know that coaching program you talked about or the new 21-day challenge, like I really want it. It's just not the right time. And with so much love, I call such bullshit on you for that. Because what you're really telling me is I'm scared. I don't know everything. So I can't do it yet. I always found it funny when I used to do CrossFit for years and lifted for years and years, like 32, 33 years. And I would be in CrossFit. I would have someone new that would come in, or we were in practice in Alberta, and our patients knew we went to CrossFit. They knew one we're affiliated with. We'd often kind of invite them to come, or one day we even had like a workout with the docs. Like it was super fun. And people having this notion that they had to get quote unquote fit enough to go to CrossFit. It was like, what? That's like saying I'm going to wait till I lose the weight and then I'm going to start eating healthy. It was like, what? That makes zero sense. It's not the right time yet. No, you're scared. And it's okay to say you're scared. Like, this is part of life, is facing these things. Listen, I got my kids, my 6-year-old goes, Mommy, I'm facing my fears. Because I'm helping him to understand this isn't about never doing something that scares you. It's about leaning all the way into that stuff. And to stop using timing, money, I don't have the energy, I don't know everything yet, as an excuse for you taking action on life. Be honest about it. I'm afraid. And sit with that and feel it. Don't push through it. It doesn't have to be like that. But you can just simply decide that I'm going to decide that the time is now. There is no right time, ever. It's the right time when you decide it to be the right time. But Karen, what if I make a mistake? Well, then you'll learn something. I'll fire back. What if you never do it? What will the consequence be if you never take action on the thing you want because you're waiting for the right time, which really means that you're really afraid? Well, what if I do it and I fail and I look like an ass? What if you never do it and you wonder the rest of your life, what would have happened if? Tell me which pain is going to be the worst one for you. Pain of regret? Or saying, you know what? At least I did it. So I failed. If that even happens, and however you define failure, like whatever, something didn't work. It brought you to something else. Trust that the timing is going to be the right time for you. And you will never begin to see the miracles that are there for you, sister. Yes, the miracles that are there for you. The support that you have in many fucking dimensions. Spiritually, energetically, support here in this 3D earth. You will never realize and actualize and create that unless you decide that the time is now. I create it. And it's not a force and it's not a push, and you can still be in your feminine, in the divine feminine that you are as a woman. But timing is not everything. That's a lie. The right time is now. The right time is the time that you decide it to be. So here's your more tip for today. There's something right now that's coming up. I guarantee right now that this is triggering. Might even piss you off a little bit, but it's coming up. Might kind of like, oh my God, she's calling me out. Oh my God, you start crying because you're like, God, I have been holding back. I have been afraid. It is really fear. I have been lying to myself. I want you to open up your journal and identify, what is that thing? Business you want to start, I don't know, Facebook post you want to write and share something that you think will bring value to others. Something within your marriage, relationship, something with you as a parent, something about your health. What is the thing that you are holding back on because you're waiting for all those ducks to get lined up in a row? Let me tell you something. I'm in a house right now where we back onto a duck pond. They don't all Ducks don't line up in a row. I'll tell you right now, they're all over the place. This is how I'm seeing ducks in a natural habitat. Some are down the creek, some are sitting on the edge, some are sleeping on the grass, like some are swimming, having a little bath, getting some food, dunking their head on the water. There's no ducks being in a row. I don't know whoever found that. That's not true. They don't row up at all. But what is the thing in your life that you're saying, well, I got to wait for the right time? That you're like, oh my God, that's just, or maybe you don't see. Maybe you're just like, no, Karen, there's still a right time. Okay, cool. Just identify what it is. And then I want you to then to write down we'll just make it easy. What is one thing? What is one way that this is costing you? So let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, you don't want to execute on a business idea or, we'll do that. Let's just make it kind of easy, tangible, right? How many thousands of dollars do you think that potentially, now we don't know for sure, that you're missing out on because of your excuse to say, I have to wait for the right time? See, and this is, I ask a kind of similar question often women that applied to coach with me. And sometimes the answer I get back is, well, I don't want to think about it. Yeah, I know you don't want to think about it. That's why we're going to do it right now. Because unless we start to understand what is the cost or the consequence if I don't take action and I keep lying to myself about why I'm not doing something, then we will never change. And if that's what you want is to stay where you are, it's fine. But you're listening to this podcast, woman wanting more. Most of you who are listening are not because you want to stay where you are. You're listening because there's something inside of you that's calling it, saying, there's more for me. There's more for me to do. There's more for me to become. There's this feeling I have inside of me. And so what will it cost you if you continue to ignore and lie about the thing that you are not doing because you're saying that the timing is not right? And journal about that for you to see. Then do what you want from there. You can decide to take action. You can still go, oh, I'm aware. Here's what it's costing me. And then you just kind of close the journal and never go back to it again. That could be a choice. I don't judge you in this at all. I really don't. But if you're saying that you want more, the words are coming out of your mouth. We got to line up the actions to go with that. This is where the magic happens. Talk really is cheap. Your actions will show everything. So what will you choose that to be, sister? What will you choose that to be? Just like for the women that apply to coach with me, one-on-one coaching, where right now there's one spot remaining for my one-on-one coaching. So I've decided it's been like a summer one-on-one coaching program, 90 days, but it's going to roll into that I will have 3 spots available for one-on-one coaching where you literally have me 24/7. So in between the weekly calls, what's been so amazing, the women that I'm serving at this level right now is that who come to me, who are at a crisis, at a crossroads, tried all sorts of things and just like, you know what, I need help. Let me raise my hand and I want to jump into this and have someone who's going to hold me accountable, who's going to do it in a loving and compassionate way, who's a woman and understands the female experience and will teach me the tools and the skills that I need because I don't know what they are and I don't have them yet. All based on what your goals are for 90 days. And we make sure that we co-create them together. So right now, there's 2 women I'm working with at this level, this very intensive level. Will be 3 spots available. Okay, so that means right now, 3 minus 2. I like to do math with my kids now. What would that be? Oh, that would be 1, mommy, right? That's right. There's one spot right now, sister. Okay, 1. And these spots can go like that. And this is by application only. Okay, this is not for every woman, but it might just be for you. And so if you're feeling this and you want to apply for this last current spot, here's what you need to do. I want you to email me, drkarenosburn@gmail.com, drkarenosburn@gmail.com, and simply say, Karen, I'd like to apply for that last spot, and I will send you further instructions from there. All right, sister. Woo! I felt some fire today. Did you feel the fire? I hope you did. That's certainly my intention. Felt it today. I felt it. So listen, a life of more really is one step away from you realizing that it ain't about timing. It's all about just the time to do it right now, every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.